Roe versus Wade. An argument that has been going on for a minute now because if you don't know, you should know. For a second, I almost got it confused with the Brown versus Board education, which for some reason I think they maybe headed there next. But I digress. We'll stick with Roe versus Wade. Now I've heard the arguments for the pros, heard the arguments for the cons, and I'm going to say that I'm somewhere in right there in the middle. Now, why do I say this? If I'll make it simple and easy for everybody. If you're trying to use this as a form of birth control, then I agree with the courts. You should not be allowed to do that. I don't think anyone should be allowed to do that. That is just wrong. We need to be more responsible. And when I say we, I mean both men and women, males and females, those who can get pregnant and get those pregnant. We know where we are these days. Now, all others who fall into other categories of all the other things that we all that pull on all of our heartstrings. Yes, all of you women, we are with you. We support you, and we agree that ethically, those concerns should be heard and addressed, and each one of those should be handled on a case by case basis. But as we see with some states, are just going to run with it and just want to put it all into one category. Like I said, if you're someone who's trying to use this as a form of birth control, no, I will never agree with that. But let's just say you get pregnant and one of the children happen to be in the tube, or it's one of those situations where if you don't abort this child now, it can cost you and that child your life. In those situations, life or death situations, a decision needs to be made where whose ever life, and this is what I thought is how it went, whose ever life they feel as though that they can save is the one that they save, which means this is why in some cases wherein the mother dies when giving childbirth, some cases it's not that the mother died giving childbirth, it's just that the doctors had a choice to make. It was either to save the parent or to save the child, and in the doctor's eye the child had a greater chance at life. In those situations, I agree when those things have to happen. I'm going to say again with my first point when I started this off, if you're trying to use this as a form of birth control because you didn't want to use a condom, you didn't want to use the proper birth control, you didn't, well, that plan B is still a part of that, but you didn't even do that. If it was a mistake, it should have been handled as soon as it happened. See, those women who's saying about the main thing that they talk about and all the other things outside of just using this for birth control, I can understand those things like, oh, that was a mistake. You're going to go correct a mistake you correct at that moment. A mistake is not corrected 6, 7 months down the road. That's not a mistake. That's on purpose. The mistake was you thought that this man was going to still be here and he's not here no more. And now you want to say, oh, I don't want it no more. Or you find out that he don't have the money that you thought he had, and you thought that he was going to be a cash cow for 18 years, and then you find out that he don't have it. Then you said, "Oh, I don't want it no more." That's not what that's supposed to be for. Things happen, mistakes happen. We understand that. Even when things are done in a proper way, something can still go wrong because there can be an imbalance anywhere. Things need to be corrected. That's what we do as humans. We're supposed to fix, correct, do better. But it seems like we're regressing because those who want to use abortion as birth control are trying to lump their argument in with all the women who have a legitimate medical reason why this needs to be afforded to them. Those other ones, y'all need to call them out and tell them, no, yours can be avoided, yours cannot. Here's why I say this. The ones that got pregnant on purpose because they went out and had sex, they made the decision to have sex with a man or whoever they had sex with. When you made the conscious decision to lay down with someone, whether you're allegedly in a relationship with them or you allegedly their side piece or whichever number you're supposed to be at that day of the week, you made that decision. You made that choice. You made that choice to get pregnant. You knew what was going on. You should have told them to strap up, but just close your legs. And I did that at all. But those on the other side, they have no control over that. Maybe someone had violated them, or it was just some freak accidental thing of nature where something went wrong and it needs to be corrected or fixed. Or, like I said, if it's outside of your control, I am with you. I support you. I think all of us support you because we understand your concern. Those other ones, we do not. You're just being selfish. If you don't want to have these things happen, do it the right way like everyone else. It's easy, it's simple. You just want to be irresponsible because the world has programmed you that way. But as they say, all good things must come to an end, and this ride has come to an end. But I will say, for those of you out there who are just concerned about where you can go and get these things done, right now, and I'm reading this off of my phone right now. This is the reason why I'm looking down and not at the camera as I'm reading this. New Jersey will not allow a person to be extradited to another state to be prosecuted for an abortion or any other form of reproductive health care. New Jersey will protect the license of a medical professional in the state who provided an abortion to a person who lives in a state where the procedure is illegal. New Jersey will keep private the medical records of patients who have received an abortion or other reproductive health services in New Jersey. New Jersey will prohibit any state agency or employee from responding to an interstate investigation or proceeding involving the pursuit of an abortion or other forms of reproductive health care. So, ladies and gentlemen, the United States of America, or the corporation that some people like to call them, they've decided not to approve abortions and all that things like that and left it to those individual states in the union that creates the United States of America. So out of the 50 or so states, because I get it confused where they want to drop, add, or not add, or whatever it is they want to do with these US territories, out of all of those, right now, as I speak, New Jersey is the only one that is offering this. So if you're one of those, you live in New Jersey, I guess y'all can still I don't agree with it. I guess use it as a form of birth control like y'all been trying to do, but I don't know. But all you other ones who have the real problems, the real medical problems that really need to get, that stuff fixed, you can come to New Jersey. As you see, the governor in New Jersey and all the cities in New Jersey would like you to come and make sure we will keep you alive. All others, I say, like I said, I don't agree with it as a form of birth control, but as in saving the life of a mother or possibly a child or whatever it is we can do in that situation, I'm all for. But not to say this is off topic, but I came across a story about a young man named Jayland Walker. And the thing about this story is when the last story you guys got from me was about Ethan Lumming. And in that story, I told you guys that I felt as though Ethan was a victim of being a child and he was assaulted by a racist. I said what I said, I meant what I said, and that brings me to this right here because where I can see over there, me looking at people that's supposed to look like me, that's supposed to be from the same tribe as me, which I highly doubt that, assaulted someone aggressively, which caused their untimely demise. Which brings me to this story right here about Jayland Walker. See, news headline says after a black man is killed by police, a city cancels a 4th of July celebration. See, this is how serious that this thing right here is getting. And for all of you people who like to come on my page when I have stories like this to try to say, oh, this happened, that, and the third, I'm going to let you know right now before I go any further. The first thing I'm going to say is this report was updated July 1st, 2022 at 3:18 p.m. You can find the links to all these reports that I'm talking about right down below. This report was originally published on July the 1st, 2022 at 2:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you do not come to me saying like, "Oh, this is old." I know what this is. I know what day this happened on, and I know what today is. And when I post it, it's gonna be further from the day that this was reported on, and further from the day that I recorded this on. Maybe I don't know. It depends. But it's 4th of July weekend. I don't celebrate 4th of July, but it's 4th of July weekend. So I'm here recording this right now, and getting it together, and this is what I'm talking about. Jayland Walker. Because it doesn't matter when it happened. Like I said, here on the Ahk Report, it's not about the people in the story. It's about the lesson in the story. People in the story are like characters in a book. Their story already happened. We can learn from what happened to them by going through their story and using our brain, seeing past the lies and past our biases. Because, like I said, it says days after a black man was killed by police, officers who reportedly fired almost 100 rounds during a chase that started as a traffic stop in Akron, Ohio. And because of this, the 4th of July celebration has been canceled. Jayland Walker was only 25 years old. He was a DoorDash driver. He was stopped for a traffic infraction. Here is the problem. I've been reading through article after article after article, and no one can say or has said or has stated what the infraction was that Jayland Walker did. No one has stated. Some reports say he shot at the cops. Some reports say that he didn't shoot at the cops. Some reports say there was a gun found in the car, but all of them stated there were no guns found on him after they found him. How they found him with handcuffs on him, and allegedly the police saying they was doing CPR on him, which doesn't make sense.
I understand the public's demand for information now. I understand that. I have questions that I want answered now. However, I echo the Walker's family's request for patience. We keep going back to the Walker family. They're requesting patience, peace, and to allow the process to run its course. Since Monday morning, information about this shooting has been disseminated through various outlets. I would encourage people to wait for BCI to conclude their investigation, submit their investigation to the Attorney General's office, and then the grand jury. The damage of spreading misinformation can cause irreparable harm. So before we receive BCI's final report, I would like to get some facts stated because I've seen a lot of misinformation circulated. As you've already heard, there were 8 officers who were directly involved in the shooting. All officers have been placed on paid administrative leave as per department policy, and which is routine when officers are involved in a deadly force situation. That's standard across the nation. We do not know the exact number of rounds that were fired. Again, this is something that BCI will discover in their examination of evidence. However, based on the video, I anticipate that number to be high. A lot of rounds were fired. And I will not be surprised if the number at the end of the investigation is consistent with the number that has been circulating in the media. But right now, we just don't know. While BCI needs to confirm the number of times Mr. Walker was shot, the ME's report indicates over 60 wounds to Mr. Walker's body. However, they are still working to determine entrance and exit wounds, and this investigation on their end will take time. It will take time for them to determine how many times Mr. Walker was actually shot. And that work to make that determination is the responsibility of the medical examiner. As you could see in the video, there was a gun recovered from Mr. Walker's vehicle. At the time of the shooting, he was unarmed. Lastly, after the shooting ends, Akron police officers went to Mr. Walker and diligently provided first aid to save his life. One officer on a body cam footage can be heard saying he still has a pulse. As the officers were getting ready to put him into a police car to get him as quickly as possible to the hospital, Akron fire medics arrived on scene. They took over aid. And unfortunately, Mr. Walker tragically passed at the scene.
If you shot at someone over 100 times, hitting them, I think about 60 to 80 times, there ain't no resuscitation. And with the amount of cops that was there versus the amount of bullets that went out that also hit this young man, that tells me that after the things happened in Buffalo, in Uvalde, and everything else in between, and the call for gun reform and everything else. Do you now understand, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see the lesson in this. Let's say Jayland is not black. Just say Jayland is an American, because Jayland is an American.
On Monday, June 27, 2022, at 12:30 in the morning, Akron police officers attempted to stop a silver Buick on East Talmadge Avenue near Thayer Street. Officers informed dispatch that the reason for the stop was for a traffic violation as well as an equipment violation. The driver of the vehicle refused to stop, and officers initiated a vehicle pursuit as the vehicle was nearing the East Talmadge Avenue entrance ramp to Route 8 southbound. Approximately 40 seconds after the driver of the vehicle fled from the attempted stop, a sound consistent with a gunshot can be heard on the body-worn cameras of the officers. Officers notified dispatch that a shot came out of the suspect's car door.
Getting on the 8 south of Talmadge, reason for stop is traffic violation. 21 shots fired. That vehicle just had a shot come out of its door.
At the time of the sound, a flash of light can be seen along the driver's side of the suspect vehicle. The vehicle pursuit continued on the expressway for several minutes, and the suspect vehicle exited onto the Archwood Avenue ramp. The pursuit proceeded through several city streets until he neared the intersection of East Wilbur Road and Claremont Street. At that point, the driver slowed down and exited through the passenger side door of the moving vehicle wearing a ski mask. The suspect fled from the vehicle on foot, turning and facing officers momentarily. He continued to run, evading arrest. Officers attempted to safely take the suspect into custody by deploying their tasers. The deployment of tasers was unsuccessful, and the suspect continued to flee on foot. As the foot chase reached the nearby parking lot, the suspect stopped and quickly turned towards the pursuing officers. Officers reacted by discharging their firearms, striking the suspect. Under visual inspection of the suspect's vehicle, a handgun, a loaded magazine for a handgun, and what appears to be a gold wedding ring were observed in plain view on the driver's seat.
They say they want to ban guns, do gun reforms, and everything else. I would like for you to explain to me, how is it that a young man at this age, can have that many bullet holes in him when a gun only holds a certain amount of bullets in the magazine that goes into the gun or the barrel? Now, to get up to that high, it would tells me that these police officers were treating this young man like they were on the firing squad. Like I said, it doesn't matter that he looks like me. What we're going to do now, we're going to imagine him as looking like you. Who's ever watching this, just imagine this happening to someone that you love, running, being scared. and you have a hail of bullets coming at you as if you're on a battlefield, but you're not on the battlefield. They say they chased Jayland drove from one area all the way down to where where the tire factory is, and he jumped out the car. The car keeps rolling. He jumps out the car, runs onto the campus, runs into their parking lot, and the cops just open fire on him. There is no reason for anyone to want to shoot someone like that in the back. Why do you have to shoot him that many times? One of the things I did find interesting in one of the stories is that before he worked as a DoorDash, he worked at Amazon, and his high school sweetheart had just recently died last month in a car accident. Now, I don't know what is going on right now. The energy is off. Everybody's senses are hired, moody, emotional. I'm not saying that this is the reason why. I'm not saying to give this an excuse to the officers. What the officers did was overkill that should not have been done. But now I'm just thinking in the eyes of Jayland. I don't know how much stress he was under or anything like that. This to me just sounded like he had a mental break. He was heartbroken. He had a mental break. Things probably could have been going wrong when the officers first came and start bothering him, he freaked out, jumped on the highway, jumped off, jumped out the car still rolling, and they just opened fire on him, and now he can be reunited with his sweetheart. To me, that's what I get out of it when I just read that part. Now, when it comes to the police officers, no matter what he did, what was your reason for shooting that many times? That's called shoot to kill. That's overkill. That's a firing squad. It reminds me of a time that I don't want to remember that we all are ready to forget. That's what I see. Like I said when I said about Ethan, we want peace. We're ready for peace. We're ready for change. We want things to go back to the way that they were, where everyone was happy, not stressed out, not complaining, not worried, not feeling stressed or forced to do things they don't want to do, where they can just follow their heart and do what makes them happy and not what society says that they should do. Because this right here, we're tired of. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm Ahk Mullins, and this is the Ahk Report.